Hey everybody, two Alpha Gals here. I'm Debbie Nichols.
And I'm Candace Mathis, and you're listening to In the Tall Grass, where we're sharing stories of reinvention, resilience, and rediscovering joy.
Whether it's facing Alpha Gal syndrome or any other redefining chapter of life, we all have to learn how to navigate the journey through the tall grass. So here we go.
Hey everybody. So in honor of summertime and how to be Alpha Gal safe, we thought that it would be appropriate to re-release one of our favorite summertime episodes. And before we do that, we also thought it would be fun to share a little update on some things that we are continuing to do and share at cookouts and grilling at our house. So, Debbie, what is your favorite thing to either bring to a cookout or to throw on the grill at this time?
Ooh, I have to narrow it down. All right. Okay. I'm gonna go with, well, I still really love a portobello mushroom on the grill. That's like still my favorite thing to grill. Although we've reintroduced a little bit of fish into our diet, and that is really good to do on the grill, especially if I get my son to do it. He's like excellent at getting it cooked perfect. So those would be my favorite grilling things, but I'm still a fan of the side dishes, and I'm not going to say what my favorite side dish is because I have a feeling you're going to say it, and you're the one who brings it most of the time. So Candace, what is your favorite thing to bring to a cookout?
Well, we just had this the other day.
Yeah.
Sweet potato salad seems to be
Nice.
my favorite and ends up being everyone's favorite, I think. Gosh, that was a recipe I found years ago and have altered it a little bit to make it Alpha Gal safe, but it never disappoints. Um,
Yeah.
my kids renamed it picnic crack.
Accurate.
I mean, whatever. But we also started reintroducing a little bit of emu into our diet to help get my iron levels up a little bit. So
Right.
those would probably the burgers, would probably be my favorite thing right now to throw on the grill. So
Excellent choices. Excellent choices. Well, check out this episode from a couple years ago and listen to how we shifted into grilling Alpha Gal safe, and have a wonderful summer.
We're here today to talk to you about one of my very favorite holidays, and for reasons that you wouldn't expect, because Labor Day is actually coming up, and my family has always made kind of a big deal about it because my mother went into labor with me on Labor Day, which has been a joke that comes up every single year. And funny enough, Candace's husband also shares my exact same birthday.
Yep.
Me and Lee Mathis and Beyonce.
yeah, you did.
So we thought we'd talk to you a little bit about how we celebrate Labor Day, because we are sort of starting to think about wrapping up the summer at this point. And I know we always try to get in a couple last celebrations grilling. That's usually what I request on my birthday. And of course, that looks a little bit different now that I live with Alpha Gal syndrome.
Okay, so let me ask you, Debbie. So since this has been kind of this twofold celebration with your birthday and just, a longer weekend, you might have friends in town visiting or family. What does it look like for you now? Like, what are some things you've done to kind of make it a safe celebration for you?
Sure. And I like to celebrate. So I would like to make a big deal of things. And my husband's really good at throwing me even if it's just a little family dinner. I still like to do the grill. Usually it's chicken. Sometimes it's portobello mushrooms. That's another one that's like my favorite thing to put on the grill. And actually that one recipe that you shared with me with the bourbon sauce, oh my gosh, that is so good. I've made it for a lot of people and then pass along the recipe. But so we usually grill, and I love to do like some really nicely seasoned chicken usually, and then even maybe put that on tacos. And we're pretty low key when it comes to celebrating, but we like what we like, and it's just no longer steak. That used to be our big celebratory food item, I think, and it still is for the kids a lot of times, especially my son. But Mark has to do it outside without me around. So,
right. Do you do anything special to like prep your grill? Do you have a separate grill that you work with, or?
I don't have a separate grill, and I know you should definitely speak to that. But usually, what we do is we will clean the grill after it's used the last time. But then my food will always go on first, whether it's chicken or fish. And oftentimes, my family's eating the same thing, and so it can all go on at the same time. But if my family's doing burgers or brats or steaks, my food will go on first. And then that way, they can cook their stuff without worrying about contamination, and then clean the grill when they're done
Right.
cooking.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do foil sometimes if like we have a Blackstone grill. So that has been a different, like a change for us. And we got our son like a little charcoal grill for him to do burgers just because I am so severe that I get nervous. Even if it's been cleaned, I would rather just put foil down and cook it on that just to be on the safe side. So that's kind of been a nice little change. I didn't know how I would like a Blackstone grill, but it's
Do you
actually,
like it?
I do. I mean, I still kind of miss, there's, aspects of a good charcoal grill or whatever. I don't know. I know there's like discrepancies about the health benefits or not of that. So yeah, I don't know. We kind of shifted. And, when you were talking about just this, like how big of celebrants you guys are, I will say, even if everything else is simplistic, it's still such a great time at your house. And one of the things, I think that is really cool is we used to do movie nights a lot outside. Like you guys had that huge pull down
Yeah.
screen. Like I think stuff like that, even, with music or movies or just adding kind of this element to it that is not centered around food, like I think that it just makes the experience that much more memorable, I guess.
That is a fantastic point because, when I think about those movie nights, and actually we haven't done any this summer. I think maybe we should do it before the weather turns.
I agree.
And, this is nothing fancy for those of you listening. Like we made a big giant screen and we hang it from our second floor windows and just all sit in camp chairs outside. But those times that I'm thinking of us watching movies out there, or even a dance party, which we've done because one of our good mutual friends has a son who is just an amazing DJ, and he'll put on dance parties for us to like fully embarrass our kids. I don't even remember what we ate at those parties, which is neat because it is sort of taking the focus off food and sort of accidentally putting it on something that isn't a problem for us,
Right.
So maybe that's a good way to refocus those grilling experiences.
Yeah, especially if, like Debbie said, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, I love music. We'll just bring like a portable speaker outside when we're sitting around our fire pit. And I don't know, there's just something about that evokes this sense of joy and not only putting the emphasis around what is not there. You know what I mean?
Right. So that's a great point too. Do you have any problems with your fire pit with burning wood? Doesn't yours burn wood?
No, I haven't had any issues with that, thankfully. We also got like a smokeless fire pit at Christmas time as a gift, and that's been really nice. But thankfully, I haven't had a huge issue with it. I mean, I think it depends on the time of year, as long as the pollen's not crazy.
Yeah, things start to compound each other,
Right.
Yeah, because we've got funny enough, we've got a gas burning fire table, but we have a charcoal grill. Actually, we've got one of the green egg, big grills that closes and cooks really nice. But my husband was very insistent when we first got married, like the first time we went to find a grill, that it had to be charcoal burning, because I guess that's what he grew up with, where his dad would grill on the old Weber grill, but I remember when I was a teenager and my family moved to Virginia, it was an opportunity for my dad to get a gas grill, and so like just flip the switch and you've got burners going and you could just throw burgers or hot dogs or whatever on there. So, but yeah, I don't seem to have any problem with the charcoal in the grill, but we happen to have a gas burning fire table. And there's something about a fire that it just goes with summer, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think something else that I've started to gravitate toward, and I don't know if this is because I've had food allergies for 15 years, but the main like course or like the main meat has not been my favorite part of a meal for a very long time. I am all about the sides. Like,
Yes.
give me the sides at Thanksgiving. Give me the sides at a cookout. Like, so I don't know. I feel like it's been kind of this progress over the past couple of years that it's shifted my focus away from like the burgers or dogs and it's to the side dishes. And I think it's a lot easier for us to navigate in some ways, especially if we are going to attend a gathering. Like we can make like our own side dishes and bring them. And then it's kind of neat because it opens up, which I know we talked about this in the webinar this weekend about just having an open mind. And I think it helps show people that just because we have to eat this certain way doesn't mean it doesn't taste good.
That's right. Yeah. And it's funny because now that you mention it, I think I feel the same way. Like you said, specifically Thanksgiving. And the truth is that I don't love turkey all that much. Like it's fine. I don't dislike it. I don't get excited about the turkey. I get excited about the mashed potatoes and about, well, I'm thinking of all the things I used to get excited about, but there's lots of like delicious veggie side dishes and the stuffing that we put on our blog that one time that is so good, big stuffing. But it's the same way for me with barbecues. And what I found this year in particular, I think now that we're sort of settling into this life as living with Alpha Gal, is that I love bringing a side dish that I know will sort of sub for my protein if, you know, if the host or hostess isn't providing something that's particularly safe for me. So for instance, I love to bring quinoa salad or something with black beans in it, you know, something that I know that I'm going to feel full and good after I've eaten. But yeah, I could sometimes take or leave the main dish.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And, you know, I think once I know like it was so helpful for me to step into navigating eating at other people's homes, be it for grilling out or whatnot, with you and some of our other friends that were super supportive. So I think your confidence builds as you do that. And then it's easier to call ahead and say, what's the menu plan? You know, hey, I'm going to cook this ahead of time, or can you wait to grill this meat before, you know, so that I can cook mine first? Or, you know, you start to develop this plan of attack, but it just makes it easier. But preparation with all of it is so important.
That's right. That's right. And you're right. Once it does get easier to call and speak with the host about what they are having. Have you ever offered to bring your own food to throw on the grill?
I think initially I did. That was before I went plant-based. I would bring my own chicken. And like I said, I would just make sure nothing had been cooked prior and it was not being cooked at the same time. So I would just put foil down and do it that way. And it was fine. I mean, I never had issues. The only time I had an issue was when it was cooked side by side on accident beside some sausages. And that was real bad. So, you know, I think I got a little more leery after that situation and just ended up making mine ahead of time. It just made it more enjoyable for me. Like, you know, I knew it wasn't going to be an added stress for myself or anyone else. And, you know, being fume reactive, I also have to make sure that I sit far enough away from a grill if they're cooking anything that is mammal, and not be like downwind.
Right.
I've also had to tell my kids this with their charcoal grill, if they've grilled beef burgers, that it can't be right up against the house because they made that mistake one time where it started like smoking into the house. So, you know, it's like you learn as you go. And I think that's the reason that we love talking about this stuff, because if we can help someone not go through kind of a negative experience with it, then why, you know, we want to share what we can.
That's right. Yeah. And I think another piece of that for me has been not setting myself up for disappointment, right? You know, you want to show up at the party and hope that there's something that you can eat, but it does sometimes just set you up for disappointment. So I feel like it's best for me to sometimes bring along something or make sure that whatever side dish I'm bringing, if we are going somewhere, is safe for me and will satisfy me if I'm not able to eat anything else that's offered there. And then if I am able to eat something, then that's just a bonus, right? Because I did that at a party over Memorial Day, and then I showed up, and then someone had made deviled eggs, which like grossed my husband out, but I absolutely love them. And I was so excited because they just accidentally happened to be safe for me. And so I was like, I don't get just quinoa salad, I get to eat deviled eggs too. Look at me with all my protein. And
yeah. And I would say, it's anyone that's new to this, my advice I would just encourage you to start with your base people, right? Like start with your people that are going to support you and validate you, and do your cookouts, do your grill out with them as much as you can, because then it gets easier to ask someone else like, hey, if it's not too much trouble, could this all just be chicken? Like I think it really does help empower you to start asking for what you need, in situations that you can. And then you don't feel as left out, if you will, when you do go to those functions, that it might not feel as good for you to ask.
Right. And if you're not ready to ask, you can always offer to host. Like I did that a lot, where it was just easier for me to provide the main dish rather than worrying about what the host or hostess was going to cook.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm exposing people to my favorite recipes, right? Like, I'm not just throwing plain chicken on the grill. We'd like to do things right and make things really delicious. And so we try to do that so that we can knock people's socks off and they can eat Alpha-Gal Safe without even knowing that they're doing it.
Yeah. And I would say, one of the first times I remember coming to your house, we're both huge foodies and cooks and all of that. And you just like unloaded your seasoning cabinet. I was like, what is this gloriousness? Like you had like all this amazing seasoning, mixes that were completely safe, that ironically are called Dizzy Pig.
That's right. You know what's funny about that is that seasoning cabinet. I have one of those, like, it's like a cabinet that slides into the wall. And I think it might be the reason we bought this house, because you pull it out and it's just like a full wall, and I put all my seasonings in there. But that's a good thing to remember, is, I rely really heavily, no pun intended, on seasoning. Don't underestimate how much good seasoning can impact food. Like the Dizzy Pig, we've got our favorites for, every protein that we put on the grill or even in the oven inside, or even on our side dishes. And, I find that with good seasoning, it really minimizes what I'm missing, or what I feel like I might be missing by not having the protein that isn't safe for me anymore.
I think it's like when you are introduced to something new, right? Again, like it sparks this little moment of like, ooh, I'm going to get that because it's safe and I can try it in my favorite recipe. And it's like little by little, it's like these little stacks of joyful moments that then just make you forget, like, well, hey, these people were eating burgers.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's part of what the side dishes do too. You have a chance to enjoy something really delicious. It's going to be safe for you. Because I feel that way. Like even with, with a good coleslaw, I don't even mind missing the pulled pork, right? Because like we'll put it on pulled chicken, but it's like, I don't know if that's a Southern thing. I don't think I had ever had coleslaw on a barbecue sandwich till I went to school in, Central Virginia, but that's enough for me. So find the pieces that work together to make grilling out a good, fun, safe experience.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think another thing, you were such a pivotal part of my like transition into this, because we kind of did it together, right? It was almost this fun, inspiring challenge, if you will, of like when we did have each other's families over for dinner, I'd be like, I'm bringing the wine. And so then we'd go and find like Alpha-Gal Safe, vegan wine. And I don't know, I think having other people that get a little excited about trying the new stuff with you, it just makes all the difference in the world.
I think so too. And I feel really grateful for those people, in addition to just your family, but people who are willing to experiment with us. We're lucky that we've got some mutual friends who are very open to that and can get excited about a vegan charcuterie board or whatever. And it just makes me that much more grateful for those people.
Yeah, I agree. So that, I would just encourage everyone to find at least one person that would celebrate with you in those moments, because they add up to really great memories and make the transition so much easier.
Oh, I totally agree. And in fact, if you don't have somebody in your life who gets excited about it, take a picture and send it to us or tag us in it, because we will get excited for you, because we get really excited seeing people sort of modify things and recreate things and reinvent their life in ways that it's safe for those of us living with alpha-gal syndrome. And actually, speaking of that, I want to know, this is a two-part question. I want to know what food you miss the most that you can no longer grill. And then I want to know what you replaced it with or how you reinvented it.
Wow, that's kind of a hard question. The one thing that I really loved grilling in the summer was a pork chop from Weathertop Farms, which is in Blacksburg. They had the best, I don't know, happy pigs. But I would grill a pork chop and top it with this fresh cherry salsa. And I haven't really thought about that much until you just asked me that. But that was the first thing that came to my mind. You can easily grill chicken and add that salsa to it. I'm going to have to think of a way to make that completely plant-based, because that salsa was so good. Oh my gosh. I really love tofu now. So I don't know if that would work. I mean, air fried tofu is really good. But again, it's like I miss that, but what element of it did I miss the most? It's probably the freshness of that salsa, honestly.
Sure.
I wouldn't have wanted just the pork chop by itself.
And so that probably makes it pretty easy to reinvent safely. Like you said, I bet a piece of chicken under that salsa would be just fine, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. What about you?
Oh, I think what I miss the most is probably just a really good burger, like a really good hamburger. And that's one thing that I do occasionally still miss. I don't know if I'll ever go back to eating one, but my favorite thing to replace it with is that sweet potato barbecue turkey burger.
Yeah.
That we both make. We share a lot of recipes. But it's a turkey burger, which I don't usually love turkey burgers, but it has, shredded sweet potato and some barbecue sauce in there and red onion and probably cilantro, because cilantro makes everything better, in my opinion. And the recipe makes like a nice fat, thick burger.
Yeah.
It satisfies that craving for me.
Yeah, my kids actually really love that recipe too. That's it. You reminded me. I haven't made those in a while. I have to do that.
Yeah, that's a good recipe. Do you ever make like a burger out of anything vegan? No? Anything plant-based?
Yeah, so I have some really great veggie burger recipes. There's one in particular out of a cookbook by Rich Roll. It's called The Plant Powered Way, I believe. And it has rice and mushrooms, and you dice everything up like really fine, beets. It is so good. And it's like you were saying, it's a thicker burger, but it's not mushy. I'm really particular about what kind of veggie burger. Like if they're mushy, forget it.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So I found a few recipes that are actually really good. So they get like crispy on the outside, and the rice does something to the structure. Wild rice in particular, if you use that. So there are a lot of really good recipes.
Do you ever still make those beet burgers that are so good?
Yeah.
The original recipe calls for goat cheese, doesn't it? Or feta?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you do them now?
You can use like Violife makes a good dairy-free feta. I also now make tofu feta, which is so easy and so delicious. And it's like added protein, right? So that one goes on everything. You literally blend up tofu and coconut oil. I got this recipe from Brittany Angel. She's a blogger that I've followed for years. And it's just really simple. You blend up just a few ingredients and let it sit in the fridge. And then I think the coconut oil helps it be able to be shredded up almost like feta.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's good.
I've used that Violife feta. In fact, I've used that one on pizza. That's one that actually Oh, see, now I'm getting hungry.
I know.
Well,
Sorry, we're making everyone starve.
well, and then I'm like, ooh, doing a pizza on the grill would be so good. I love to do that, especially now that I know that that feta melts nicer than a lot of
Yeah.
the vegan cheeses. So
Yep.
I feel like I'm actually eating pizza and not like
Cardboard
yes, cardboard.
with melty something on it. I don't know. Like it's
melty more cardboard. I don't know.
Good thing is there is so much out there that actually does taste good. You just kind of have to sift through.
That's right. Maybe one of these days we'll get to posting a blog about it. And who knows, maybe some of our favorite recipes.
Yep, absolutely. So, all right, I'm gonna end this like we do our other guests.
Ooh, all right.
Being that Labor Day and the weekend is celebratory for you because it's your birthday, what is your favorite song as far as grilling out or for your birthday? Like, what song brings you the most joy?
Oh my goodness. Okay, this might take me a few minutes because of course my summer music is still reggae, like which is my answer from the last time. But then something else that comes to mind is my husband and I are big Jimmy Buffett fans. And I think it's the love of summer that makes us love and enjoy his music. And it's just it's always a party when you're playing Jimmy Buffett.
I love it. Yes.
I have so many that are coming to mind.
Well, maybe we can put together, include a Debbie's birthday playlist.
Oh, that would be so fun.
That just reminds me to say, find joy in the little things, right? Like the music or the beautiful weather or a cardinal flying by outside, yes. Find joy in the simple things because it's there.
I agree. Okay, we can't leave without you saying what your favorite summertime celebration song is.
I didn't know you were going to flip it on me. This is all about your birthday.
One. To celebrate Lee's birthday.
Oh, geez. Well, okay. My favorite, which this has nothing to do with my husband. He actually does not care for a lot of my 80s love of music. I love some Hall & Oates. So that has been my summer jam, is the Hall & Oates Pandora Station.
All right.
So, yep.
Happy summer, everybody. Until next time. Thank you for joining us today on In the Tall Grass. Visit us at 2alphagals.com. That's TWOalphagals.com. Or you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at 2alphagals. If you enjoyed listening, please leave a review and help us grow this community. We're all faced with obstacles on our journey, whether it be food allergies or tick-borne diseases. You might outgrow the reactions, but you won't outgrow the person you become. Ticks suck, but life doesn't have to.